She passed away last week after a long battle with Alzheimer's. I was with her when she passed on. I held her hand. She wasn't able to speak, but she squeezed my hand. She told me that she heard. And she had a very sharp sense of humor. After her first day at the University of Illinois, she came back to her house where her mother was waiting for her. And her mother wanted to know all about this new guy on the block. Eileen said, well, he seems to be a nice guy, a little shy, but he's nice. And his first name was Elliot. I can't remember his last name. He was like a musician, like Beethoven or Bach, Mozart. And when Eileen was pregnant with Kenny, our first child, the obstetrician told her to get to the hospital immediately, and the pain started coming 5 minutes apart. But she said she couldn't do that because she had to wash her hair first. She couldn't go to the hospital with the baby in a dirty head. So, we finally went to the hospital and got there about midnight. This was in Madison, Wisconsin. And Kenny wasn't born until the next morning at 8 o'clock, 8 hours later. So when Eileen came out of the delivery room, she said, why don't you ever listen to me? We could have gotten another 8 hours sleep. There's a lot more to tell. My children want to say a few words. So I'll turn over to them right now. Thank you so much for coming.
One of my fondest memories of my mom was a time when I was visiting my dad and her as an adult. I was heartbroken over the end of a relationship, and she comforted me, not in a maternal way, but by a kind of quiet, unjudging, unpitying, and transparent presence, a kind of wholeness. I think she was acutely aware of and understood transition and continuity in life. She expressed that same sense of peace and acceptance when her dad, to whom she was very close, passed away. And that's also what I experienced in her room the other morning, a few hours after the mortuary had come for her. A light, airy sensation of neither presence nor absence, as though her life was complete and she wanted me to know that. My mom had the soul of an artist. She wanted the world to be a beautiful place, for people to get along with each other, for life to have meaning. And she longed for others to recognize that quality in her. So much of what she said and did, the project she embarked on, the art she created, was an attempt to reach out in that way. Another fond memory I have of her is when I decided in my early 20s to fly to Europe and take my golden retriever with me. My mom knit a backpack for the dog so we could hitchhike from Chicago to New York to catch the flight. As it turned out, the adventure proved too daunting for me, but I think my mom believed in her heart of hearts that it could really happen. I always think of my mom when I read Yeats's poem, When You Are Old and Gray, particularly the line about her pilgrim soul, her boldness and her fearless curiosity. It's the quality of my mom that frequently comes out in my dad's short stories about their life together, and the quality that ultimately made her so brave in the face of her own death. If she's watching us now, I think she would want us to know above all that everything is okay. I'll close by reading Yeats's poem. When you are old and gray and full of sleep and nodding by the fire, Take down this book and slowly read, and dream of the soft look your eyes had once, and of their shadows deep. How many loved your moments of glad grace, and loved your beauty with love false or true. But one man loved the pilgrim soul in you, and loved the sorrows of your changing face. And bending down beside the glowing bars, murmur a little sadly, how love fled and paced upon the mountains overhead, and hid his face amid a crowd of stars.
It was the summer of '73. I had just been fired by the Social Security Administration for not wearing a tie. As you can see, not much has changed since then. So on my way home, I remember being very nervous because I was afraid that my mother was going to be angry at me for having gotten fired. And when I got home, I was extremely surprised to find that her response was quite the opposite. She said to me, "Don, this is a blessing in disguise. Now you can take the courses that you need to get into graduate school in psychology." I had been planning on applying for programs without having taken these courses, and as it turns out, there was no way I would have been accepted. So I went ahead and I registered for these classes at University of Illinois Circle Campus for the fall quarter. I took these courses, and when I completed them, I applied to psychology programs, and in the spring of 1974, I was accepted to University of Colorado in Boulder. And as they say, the rest is history. So I've always been very grateful to her for having encouraged me to just go for it at this very important time in my life. So thank you, Mother. May you rest in peace.
I actually decided that I was not going to talk today. And then I realized I can't not. I'm the daughter. And whether I ever liked it or not, for good or for bad, I'm the daughter. And whether I could ever say it to my brothers or not, I know I'm the daughter. I'm the favorite. Although sometimes Kenny was the favorite because he was the first. But I know that for the last couple years, it's no secret that they were very difficult years for her. And many times she got very, very angry and upset and frustrated with all of us. And my dad and I often said, it might be tonight, it might be tomorrow, it might be next week, it might be next month, but it'll all be forgiven, and suddenly she'll love us and be back. And that's, even though everybody who knows me knows that I can get very emotional, and at many of her angry outburst times, I got extremely frustrated, but there was always that other part of me that knew I was her daughter. It didn't matter. I was her daughter. And the one statement that I've probably made more times over the years is, I am my mother's daughter. And it's in my swimming every day, it's in my golf twice a week, it's in my pottery / her woodworking. I am my mother's daughter, for good and for bad, and there's definitely some of both, and everybody who knows there is some of both, but I am my mother's daughter. And in the probably the most wonderful memory that I have is, maybe my brothers remember, probably about 15 years ago, I went through some old family photos. I got the idea, could we replicate an old family photo? And pretty much everybody who's been to the house saw or seen the picture, that at the time we figure I was probably about 2 months old. So I'm in a diaper, in Kenny's lap, and he's got his arm around me here, which is not where he would put his arms around me today. And Ricky and Donna, and three of them are in their bathing suits, and we replicated that picture, and I think everybody who's seen that. And I now have that picture up in my home. And I also have in my home her crown piece, her grandfather clock, which will forever be chiming in my house. And the one other thing is, after we lost our house in the 2007 fires, meaning it's almost 10 years now, she was like, Linda, I have to make you something. I have to make you something. And by this time, she was already lost a lot of her strength, lost a lot of her stamina, lost a lot of her abilities, but she had to make me something. And I said, well, how about a little cabinet, a little memorial to the fire? And I'm literally thinking something this big. I now have in my home a cabinet this tall. My dad went with her to help her because she could not hold it up anymore. She was not, and he was there as her main assistant to help her make something that big. So that I now have that, plus a lot of her other little pieces, but I have her two, what I call her 2 crown pieces.
And one more thing about what Linda said. She talked about Papa's grandfather clock, which she has now. But Eileen won first prize, blue prize, Delmar Fair for the grandfather clock.